Hello everybody and welcome back to the Traxion channel for another brand new video and another brand new episode of my newest series where I try the latest and greatest that racing games have to offer. Now last week I tried out a brand new game in early access mode that's been created by one developer, and this week I am going to the completely opposite end of the scale, trying out the biggest racing game of the year because they have another new update. Yes, of course, Gran Turismo 7 are back with more, and it's version 1.19 this time. And of course, now as expected, we have 3 new cars to go with that. These are the 1985 Group 5 Nissan Skyline Super Silhouette, the 1954 Maserati A6GCS/53 Spyder, what a mouthful that is, and the much snappier Porsche 918 Spyder. As well as the new cars, we have the usual influx of tweaks, so new race events, new cafe menus, online improvements, to name but a few. Now, normally when there's a big GT7 update, I jump in a race or even 2 and try out the cars, but something got me thinking differently this time. When I saw which 3 cars were coming to the game, I was trying to guess which would be quicker out of the Nissan and the Porsche. Now, of course, one is an old bespoke race car, and one is a modern rocket ship hypercar for the road. It then got me thinking, how about pitching one against the other in a lap time challenge? Old versus new, race car versus road car, Japan versus Germany. So let's do it. So we better buy ourselves the cars we need, and first of all, let's just have a quick look here at the Maserati. I mean, this thing is absolutely stunning, and I do say that a lot, but I really mean it when it comes to this car. Obviously from 1954, an old sports car will be huge fun to throw around, but also a lot of money, and I do not have the money to buy that one and the rest of them, so I'm going to leave that for now. Here we have the Super Silhouette 1984. It's just over 1 million credits. Now this car is rear-wheel drive, it's got a 2.1 litre turbocharged engine, 5-speed gearbox, producing 561 horsepower according to Gran Turismo, with a PP level of 728, which actually puts it in the Group 3 category. Now Group 5 racing, this was just an incredible era. These things were nuts, absolutely nuts. Purchase, yes, give me. Pretty sure this car was in Gran Turismo 2 as well, by the way, first time we've seen it since then. Now for the next car, we have to head into Brand Central because this car is much more modern. 2013, I believe this Porsche came out. And here it is, the Porsche 918 Spyder 2013. Now this car is holding up well when it comes to the looks of it. It was one, of course, of the Holy Trinity with the McLaren P1 and LaFerrari. Now the P1 was by far and away my favourite, but this was second. It's got an incredibly sophisticated 4-wheel drive system, 874 brake horsepower, does weigh a little bit more than the Nissan though. 1.6 million credits as well. Yes. It looks amazing. Oh, meteor grey metallic with those green calipers. That is absolutely stunning. Give me, yes. And my credits are gone again. Now this car does have a lower base PP level, 664, compared to the Skyline, which is over 700. So I'm going to do one thing to make it a little bit closer and arguably a little bit more fair. Depends how you want to view it. I am going to go and buy it hard slick tires, which is what the Skyline has by default. So let's see what difference this makes. Racing hards, 701 pp, so that makes it quite a bit closer actually, but the Nissan still has the advantage. Now to make this a fair test, there's only one track that we can possibly go to, and that is of course the Nordschleife. Sorry if you don't like the Nordschleife, I love it. Many people love it. I'm going to drive around there because that is a great test of handling. We've got power and straight line speed, of course, as well. It's just a fantastic testing ground for cars. So we're going to head there, and we are also going to take the Porsche first because I want to see what this thing will do with all of its modern technology. Normally aspirated engine as well. It's incredible how quick it is considering. I say that, of course, it's a hybrid, isn't it? So it's going to be a bit different anyway. We're going to go 7:15 in the morning because it's going to look good. Right, here we are, the Nordschleife. Now, I should also add, I've not driven these cars at all. This is me going straight into it. I'm going to do just 1 lap in each car. So it takes into account how difficult the car is going to be to drive. I need to try and learn to drive it, so the more drivable it is, the better it's going to be. It's only 9 degrees on the track as well, so it's fairly cold. We're just going to jump in and give it a go. The current time atop of the leaderboard is the Tomahawk at 4 minutes 30. I don't think we're going to go quite that quick today. Okay then. Here we go. Now I'm running 0 TC to start off with just to see how we get on, but that might change as we get through this lap. Okay, oversteer already. So much power with the hybrid system. This is 4-wheel drive, of course. And here we go to start the lap. We're going to have to brake nice and early. The slick should help us out a little bit compared to what we would have been on with the road tyres. It's been a while since I've been playing Gran Turismo 7 in all honesty, and it's the first time playing it on this 923 wheel that I'm using with the Next Level Racing Wheel Stand 2.0. We've loved having this thing up here in Traxion HQ's kitchen. But so far so good. Porsche is sticking well. I feel like I'm having to use the brakes quite a lot, so yes, there's lots of downforce, but of course there is weight, and at the end of the day it's still a road car. This thing is road legal somehow, so it's not going to be designed to be as instantly quick as possible out of the box. I do think, though, we're going to gain on the Nissan on the straights with the big power. I mean, the Nissan is powerful as well, to be fair. Absolutely loving the lime green trim on this car. I know some of you won't be a fan of it. I love it. Keeping it absolutely pinned. 184 miles an hour. Bit of a lift over there. I'm going to hit the brakes, so I do not have the trust in the car yet. Now, of course, I'm taking it a little bit easy. But I've only got one lap at this, so I need to make it count. We can't afford to throw it all away. And it's a lot about, you know, how drivable is the car out of the box as well. It's, you know, it's a good test of a car's handling. It's a bit like when I jumped in the Toyota Hypercar versus the LMP. You've just got a lot of understeer, and you just, it feels heavy. You know, you can tell it's four-wheel drive as well. Back on the brakes, down to second. In on the curb, bit of power. That's fine. I'm enjoying this. Now, I am sorry if you're not a fan of the Nürburgring Nordschleife. I know we've had a fair bit of content on it recently. I took the IDR around it on Race Room. We did a video about 9 things you need to know about the Nordschleife. And yeah, I do apologise if you don't like it. But most of us love it. It isn't, I do acknowledge, of course, it isn't the only racetrack in the world. I do get that, I really do. I just think it's such a great place to test out the characteristics of cars, though, and compare them lap time-wise. I think the biggest compromise right now I'm having to make is just braking really early for the corners. It means I can't really use the speed that this car's got in it, because I'm constantly have to think about the next corner. So it's going to really be good on the Dottinger Straight, but until then, it's going to cost us a little bit. That hybrid system automatically deploying on acceleration. Let's just try and keep the foot in through here. I've had to lift a little bit just to be safe. 3 minutes 11 at that split. I'll probably forget that by the time we jump in the Nissan. Nice thing about this car as well is it doesn't need the traction control. I really did think I'd be using it a little bit. I've got ABS, factory ABS on, but it doesn't feel like it needs any traction control to be manageable. It is tricky, but definitely manageable with this Logitech. Back on the brakes, in we go. That was fine. These slow corners are what I've really got to watch out for on the brakes. Bit of drifting, we'll take that. Four-wheel drive helps. 425 on that split, pretty sure that's the Tomahawk's entire lap time, just about. Actually used the throttle there to get myself out of trouble with understeer. Even though it's four-wheel drive, you can still get a little bit of rotation if you time everything right and get the weight transfer right. Big moment. Down the hill, on the brakes, in. No time to breathe, no time to think. Just do. Oh, that was blind and that was grass. This Holy Trinity thing, it was a very special time for road car fans. You know, these 3 cars all coming out by big manufacturers, big motorsport manufacturers as well, all building road cars, totally unique, all very similar. It was almost as if they planned it, and it was just such an amazing moment for motoring in general. Just 3 sublime designs, completely different, completely unique. Everyone has their favourite. I understand, you know, a lot of people love the Ferrari. I don't like the Ferrari very much, but I love the other 2, especially the McLaren P1. But this thing is winning me over, I've got to say. Up to 5th gear. Okay, we're up 194 miles an hour. This is where I think the Porsche will be good. I mean, I don't know how good the Nissan's going to be. It might be great too, but the hybrid system's running low on battery. Up to 199. There's 200. 628 at that sector point. We're going to lift a bit. This is where it's going to be sketchy. Brake. Brake. Through the last corner. 2nd gear on the power. And that's going to be it. What's the time? 6 minutes 50.171. There goes my ghost. Wow. Loved every minute of that. And I'm sure I'm going to love the Nissan as well. I don't know what it's going to entail though. Could be a completely different beast. In fact, I'm sure it will be. Okay, let's jump in this Nissan. My first big esports win was in a Group 5 championship, the old DRM cars. I think that's probably why I love them so much, but even just listening to this right now, it's just mesmerizing. Okay, we're back in. I didn't actually notice if the wind was any different, the wind speed and direction, but we're just going to pretend it makes no difference for the sake of this experiment. 6 minutes 50.171 is the time to beat. The temperature's actually colder for me on this run. So, yeah, again, don't know what difference it's going to make. Let's just try it and see what happens. Right, once again, no traction control. And of course, this car didn't have traction control in period, so that makes sense. Now, the PP would suggest that this is going to be quicker, but it's never that simple because characteristics need to come into it as well. You can feel the turbocharger kicking in as soon as we get the RPM up. Very long gears as we start the lap now. You can feel 3rd gear there, nothing at low revs, and then all kicked in. Oh, that's just epic. Oh, the power's lovely. The delivery's lovely. We can carry probably a little bit more speed through the corners because it's built to be a race car. Already doing 140. Oh, it's just beautiful through the corners. It sticks brilliantly. Yes, there's a bit of understeer on power, but because I've just been driving a road car, I guess, that's where you really feel the difference. Back on the brakes, down to second. Let's get it in over the curb. And you can just feel the higher gears, it begins to struggle a little bit. The turbo doesn't quite kick in well enough. Obviously, there's loads more time on the table here, guys, but just a reminder, this is the first shot. We don't get to spend the time practicing. I've got to try and trust this car, keep it on the road on the first lap. And I do think we're going to lose out to the Porsche when it comes to the higher end of the performance. You only got 5 gears, but I do feel we're a bit quicker through the corners. Based on gut instinct so far, you've got that 80s blocky downforce, ground effect. I don't know if Group 5s really have ground effect. That's something I'm sure many of you guys will know about. I don't, but it feels epic. It feels like I've got ground effect. All right, how fast are we going to take here? We're going to go a bit quicker than the Porsche because I feel like we can manage it. Bit extra curb. In we go on the power again. Back on the brakes. Oh, it's just magical. I'm in love. What a surprise. I drive an old race car and I'm in love with it. Sounds are magnificent as well. Nice and tidy through there. Down to second gear, I think, for this one. We'll get in for the late apex on the power. Just got to watch for that understeer. 232 at that split. Down towards ad now. I do think it's going to be quite close, but yeah, naturally I would say that the Nissan's probably got it. I guess it just doesn't quite have the grunt on the straights, but there's just so many corners in this early part of the lap, it really does feel like I'm going to make up more than I'm going to lose. I think the next split was 3:11 in the Porsche, so let's just see what we've got this time around. 3:08.4, so we're only about 3 seconds quicker at this stage. Slightly surprised by that. I thought it would be a little bit more, and remember, we do have long straights ahead, where the Porsche will come into its own a little bit. So it's not over yet, guys. 165, but we can definitely carry more speed through this left. I'm going to dab the brakes down to fourth. In we go. Use the grip, use the turbo. Very nice. Carousel, no issues. Very similar to the Porsche, it's nice and sedate. Through here, this thing just comes into a league of its own. Incredible the grip we've got. I can really build in confidence in this car already. I know I'm not going to bin it. Shouldn't have said that probably. I feel like I'm not going to bin it. And I can just push that a little bit more and trust everything it does. I'm not scared of this thing at all. I was a bit scared of the Porsche. Should I be scared of this thing? Probably just me being a numpty. This car is 1.1 million credits, so yes, it's more than a Group 3 car, and it's possibly not going to be as quick as a Group 3 car unless you do some work on it in the tuning shop, but I'm having more fun driving this than I would in a GT3, I can guarantee you. This is a car I'd want to use for tackling that hour-long Spa race with the mixed weather conditions. That would be a good challenge. That was just such a fun race in the GT300 Subaru. Through mini carousel. Okay. Now this is where we're probably going to lose a bit of time. So let's try and... Obviously I'm racing against myself, so... From the Nissan's perspective, let's just try and carry the speed through here. And then just hope that we can carry the speed on the straight. So we did reach 200 right towards the end of it, but before then we were sitting around 180, 190 for quite a long time. We're already maxing out in 5th gear, 174 miles an hour, so we're just hemorrhaging lap time here. But is it going to be enough? 6:51 was the time. We've got 30 seconds to make it to the end. I think we're going to make it in the Nissan, you know that. Stay in 5th gear, carry more speed through there on the brakes, down to 3rd. We'll try 2nd. We've got 20 seconds and only 2 corners to go. Through the left-hander, back on the brakes, in we go. It's going to be within 10 seconds, but the Nissan will reign supreme. 6:42.9. And old 80s race cars are quicker than modern-day ridiculous hypercars, which just shows you, you know, how impressive race car technology is in general. There's so much money and development gone into that hypercar, but if you make it road legal, you just cannot compete with a bespoke race car like this. This thing's more exciting to drive. I love the Porsche as well, but it just has that raw edge to it. But it's the lovely Nissan that takes the win. It was actually a 6:50, not 6:51. I remembered that wrongly. So just over 7 seconds in it in the end between the two. So very, very close indeed. And that's going to wrap up this video, guys. So thank you so much, as always, for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. The Nissan's only 1.1 million credits, which on Gran Turismo 7 in the grand scheme of things is actually quite cheap, and I would highly recommend it. I know I say that a lot, but I would. You probably saw the smile on my face throughout that second lap. The Porsche is great too, though. I actually enjoyed it a lot more than this Toyota Hypercar that I drove recently as well. So both good cars to buy. Once again, well done, Gran Turismo. I can hear the replay right now, and it sounds amazing. I'm looking forward to watching that later on. If you want to see more content like this in the future, please do subscribe to the Traxion channel, and of course hit the notification bell to catch those future videos as they are released. And until I see you next time, thank you so much for watching, keep it pinned, and have a great day. Oh, I got a 5-star roulette ticket for completing the driving marathon. Go see if it's anything exciting first. I bet it's going to be rubbish. It's Gran Turismo 7, so even if it says 5-star, I'm probably just going to get like a duplicate or 10,000 credits. Those 2 cars are both cars I already own. That's a duplicate. When are we going to be able to sell cars?